It's time to enjoy the sweet taste of Brahms Strawberry Shortcake Sundae. Our creamy vanilla ice cream is nestled on top of Brahms fresh-baked golden bundt cakes, with spoonfuls of delicious strawberry topping all around, complete with fluffy whipped cream and a cherry to create the perfect flavor combination. Strawberry goodness is waiting for you at Brahms.
Hello and welcome, football fans, to the Squirtle Pay Dirt Pick'em Show. I am your host, Andy Campbell, and I am joined tonight by Tom Nelson, Mark Rogers, and Jacob Diesenhorst, as always, to discuss Week 7 of the Oklahoma High School football season. Quick reminder for the fans, this week is fall break for most of your favorite schools, so many of the teams that you follow will be playing on Thursday evening this week instead of the typical Friday night flights. Our two guests tonight, Joe Dial and E.J. Tillinger. Joe is a Marlow High School alum and would take me about 20 minutes to read all of his athletic accomplishments while he was an outlaw, but I'll try to summarize a few of them. Multiple-time state champion in Oklahoma and track and field events. He then went on to Oklahoma State, where he's a four-time NCAA champion in the pole vault. He was the world record holder pole vaulter in 1986 and won the bronze medal at the 1989 World Championships in Budapest, Hungary. Joe was inducted into the Pole Vault Hall of Fame in 2011, in the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, and the Oklahoma State Hall of Fame. He also coached track and field at Oral Roberts University for almost 30 years. He's been the head high school boys track and field coach at Jinx High School for the past 3 seasons. Joe, pleasure having you on. Look forward to hearing about you and Marlow this evening. So thank you for coming on the show.
You bet. No problem.
Our next guest is Mr. E.J. Tillinger. E.J. is, give me 1 second here. All right, E.J. is originally from Watonga, Oklahoma. Began his coaching career with 2 years at Hera before serving 6 years as an assistant coach at Choctaw High School. During that time, he coached in 3 state championship games and helped lead Choctaw to its first state championship since 1960 during the 2024 season. He now serves as the principal at Choctaw Middle School, is married to his wife, Michelle. EJ, pleasure having you on as well.
Thank y'all for joining me. Thank you.
All right, we have 2 Squirtle games of the week this week as usual. We have Choctaw at Stillwater with Tom on the mic for that game, and Washington at Marlow with Mark on the call. So let's go ahead. We're going to start with our 8 network games. And we're going to start our show with the only 8-man football game that we will be discussing tonight, Pioneer at OBA. Both teams are 1-0 in B1, with Pioneer getting a big 52-28 win over Garber last week, while OBA defeated Turpin 46-22. Tom Nelson, who gets the win in Enid on Thursday?
Well, OBA is a much better team than I thought they would be this year. They were 1-9 a year ago, had a lot of young guys that got some experience. They're still pretty young. They were shut out and done early against Sealing, but that happens to almost everybody. Since then, they've got my attention by beating Wacomas, shutting out Burns Flat, and then going to the Panhandle to take out Turpin last week. They've got the meat of the schedule coming up, though, starting this week and then going to Laverne, Pond Creek Hunter at home, and finishing up at Garber. If they want to make the playoffs, they got to find 2 wins in there somewhere, and that's not going to be easy. I think that Pioneer could be the best team in this district, but Laverne's going to have something to say about that in Week 10. But I think this week that Pioneer is going to use that ground and pound and beat the Trojans.
Mark?
Yeah, OBA is having a really good season at 5-1. Had them in my rankings this week. And so I think that they've obviously had to rebuild a little bit from where they were a couple of seasons ago. Pioneer got a big win against Garber last week, so I'm going to go with the Mustangs here to beat OBA.
Our 2 guest pickers probably haven't watched a whole lot of 8-man film this year, but EJ, let's go to you with Pioneer OBA.
Yeah, a little bit familiar with OBA, so I'm going to go with them. I see both teams putting up a lot of points these past couple of games, and their losses are both to undefeated teams, so I'm going to go with OBA.
EJ taking the Trojans. Let's go to Joe Dial.
I haven't watched 8-man since 1985, which I watched a whole season with Bowlegs. My adopted son played there, and it was awesome. But I'm going to go with the OBA. Isn't that a Christian school?
It is. The Bibles.
Yeah.
About a mile from my house.
I think he's going to give them the old David and Goliath speech, and they're going to pull this one out.
I like it. Jacob Diesel, let's go to you.
Yeah, Pioneer is 4-2, and all four of their wins are impressive wins. Uh, Drumright, blanking Cherokee, winning at Timberlake, and then that dominant performance to beat Garber last week. OBA, had that early season blowout loss to Sealing, but they've won four straight since, and that includes two road wins in games I think they were probably underdogs in at Waukomis and at Turpin. So kudos to both these teams, sitting pretty, but district play is just getting started. It's always fun when these ENA teams get together. These 8-man ENA teams match up. I got Pioneer a 12-point favorite, and I think it's a push. Pioneer wins at 42-30.
All right, from Class B
It
to
seems like a lot of fence riding last week for a guy that was calling all the upsets.
Just wait.
Okay. All right. It's early.
Yeah, I got out my sleeves tonight.
From Class B to 5A for our next pick'em game, Altus is 6-0 on the year, 3-0 in District 5A2. The Bulldogs will travel to Cleveland County to take on Noble this Thursday. Noble is 1-5 on the year, but the Bears have played one of the tougher schedules of any team in the state of Oklahoma so far. Mark, who gets the win in Noble?
Altus. But I do have to get this out of the way first. I want to say to Joe that the 1985 Blackwell Maroons all had Brian Bosworth haircuts. And then there were two guys, Scott Ward and Chris Kolb, that both were pole vaulters because of Joe Dial. I mean, and our track team was terrible. I mean, it's probably better than what Blackwell has now, but I'm just saying is that these guys were great pole vaulters, and they were doing it just because Joe Dial was such a great pole vaulter. So his reach was across the state and into parts of the state he probably didn't even recognize. But and they claim they knew you, and I always thought, well, that's really cool. They know Joe Dial, but I don't know if they did or not. But apparently. I think they actually may have made it to state a couple of times. So
I did pole vault camps at OU, so maybe they did.
Okay, well then they at least had been around you, which is good for them. But no, I'm going to go with Altus in this. Jeremy Reed's doing an incredible job in his second time back there, and they're going to make the playoffs this year and probably continue to keep the streak going. But they're doing great work there with the Bulldogs.
Tom Nelson.
Well, Altus is off to a perfect start after being picked sixth by the district coaches, but the schedule's been really favorable to say the least. After this week, they finish with Guthrie, Lawton, and Carl Albert. This competition has given one of the best freshmen in the state a chance to get his feet wet. Their quarterback, Jamon Reed, he's thrown for almost 1,800 yards, 21 touchdowns, 3 picks. He set a school record in the Reno game. He had a hand in 7 touchdowns that night. They've got one more week before it gets really tough, so I'm going to pick the Bulldogs to get to 7-0 with a win over Noble.
EJ.
Yeah, like you said, Andy, Noble's been going through kind of a gauntlet there with their non-district and that district schedule that they've had. But like with all that being said, I'm also going to go Altus. Joe.
Well, it seems like almost every team here I know somebody, but Altus. A guy named Chauncey Radin, which y'all's not going to know this, but he has the fastest 200 ever in the history of Oklahoma. The wind was blowing 45 miles an hour at the state track meet, and it was handheld, but he runs a 20.02, and he's retired from the military, and he's back there helping some of those kids. And so I'm going Altus in a big win.
All right, Joe taking the Bulldogs. Jacob Easorst.
Yeah, you guys mentioned this schedule that Noble's played. They've their 4 losses are to Tuttle, Guthrie, Carl Albert, and then the Bethany. So it's not like they have anything to be ashamed of. They have played probably the hardest schedule of any team in 5A. Altus 6-0 is kind of the contrast there. They've played a much easier schedule, but nonetheless still been impressive. I think that win against Ardmore is the one that really stands out to me. Going on the road at Cache and getting a win 41-28 was impressive. And then the win over El Reno, another big win. I think Noble's rebuilding this season, but they're much better than their record indicates that they are. The computers, in fact, have Noble as a favorite, just barely in this game in the computer rankings. I don't see it quite that way, but I do see it being a much tighter game than most people expect. I got Altus an 8.5 point favorite, and I think they cover, but there's some points on the board. Altus 41-28.
Okay, we're going to stay in that District 5A2 for our next pick'em game. The El Reno Indians, like Noble, 1-5, but they have also played a gauntlet schedule just like Noble. The Indians will host the Lawton Wolverines on Thursday. Lawton 4-2 on the season, but their opponents in those 4 wins, a combined 1-23 on the year. Tom, tell us about this matchup.
Oh, yeah, El Reno's lost 5 straight, and like you said, they have not caught a break with the schedule. Big losses to teams that are combined 26-4. They've been shut out 3 times and beaten up the last 2 weeks by Carl Albert and Guthrie. Lawton is catching them at a really good time. While El Reno was getting drilled by Carl Albert and Guthrie, Lawton was getting well against John Marshall and Western Heights. I think it's going to be a long night for the home team, and I'm going to pick the Wolverines.
Mark?
Yeah, El Reno opened the season with a win against Chickasha, but since then, they've only scored 29 points in 5 games, so I'm going with Lawton here. Lorenzo Williams gets the win.
Sorry, Mark. EJ, let's go to you.
Yeah, I'm going to go against the grain here. I think that travel this week is going to be a little bit much for Lawton going to El Reno, so I'm going to take El Reno.
EJ going with the Indians. Joe Dye, let's go to you.
Let's go with Lawton on this one.
Okay, Jacob.
Yeah, this game, it's an interesting matchup. I think Lawton is better than most people thought they would be. They've got some explosive players. They've got some size. They also have a lot of depth this season. It's good to see Lawton having lots of kids on the sidelines. El Reno can strike. They have the ability to make explosive plays, but unless their defensive line is able to get pressure on Lawton's quarterback, I would say young man's name. Let's say here Simpson. They give him time to play his game back there. He can pick them apart, and he can also hurt them with his legs. I do agree that El Reno does get a little bit of an advantage from that home field, but I just think Lawton's a stronger team this season. I got them a 10-point favorite going on the road, and I just think El Reno's secondary, if they're going to stay in this game, they're going to have to play really well, but I see Lawton pulling away 35-27.
All right, let's go to pick'em game number 4. We're going to go to Class A1, District 1, where 2 undefeated teams in district play will square off in Fairview. The Hooker Bulldogs had an impressive 49-28 win over Cashion last week, while Fairview beat up on Crescent 49-22. Mark, who remains undefeated in A1 this Thursday at Eubanks Field?
I immediately had some regret on my pick of Lawton in that game when EJ mentioned the bus. I mean, I thought, oh, man, that sounds pretty good. I think the bus is going to be the difference in this one. Fairview and Hooker played last year. It was a big revenge game for Hooker. Real windy night. Tom and Adam were there for that one. I think that this district has got so many good teams in it. Cashion lost last week at Hooker. Cashion and Fairview are going to meet up a little bit later on this year, but I think Fairview at home is going to get the win in this game. Have a little bit to do with the bus trip here, but I'm going with the Yellow Jackets. Everybody knows EJ, Joe, I don't know if you know or not, but you don't pick against the Jackets on the Squirtle Show.
That's good advice from Mark Rogers. Tom, let's go to you.
And that being said, this has really turned into a nice rivalry since they started playing every year for the past 15 years or so. Fairview's won 11 of those 16 battles, including for the gold ball a couple of years ago. But Hooker made a statement last week. They beat Cashion by 3 touchdowns. Justin Palacios, the stud running back, 259 rushing yards. Their quarterback, Keelan Robinson, had 207 yards and 6 rushing touchdowns. Their running game just punished the Wildcats last week. And last year, out in the Panhandle, I was there. The Bulldogs ran over the Jackets for 361 yards in a big win. I know what's coming. Excuse me. I'm risking getting Mark's cookies spiked with laxatives again. But I think that Hooker has got enough in the tank and they're going to get a big road win.
That's why they're the Mark Rogers cookies. It's okay.
No doubt.
EJ, let's go to you. Hooker at Fairview.
Yeah, so I went home to Watonga a couple weekends ago, and you hear a lot about these two teams. So I heard it's going to be a good game, something I might have to catch it online or something and watch. But out of respect for everybody, and I also really think they'll win the game, I'm going Fairview.
Well, EJ, you can watch this game for free. Squirtle app, squirtle.tv, Fairview Yellowjackets.tv. Joe Dial, let's go to you. Hooker at Fairview.
I guess I'm going against advice here, but they say Fairview I should pick them. That's what you're saying, but I'm going to have to go with Hooker on this one. I don't know. It sounds right.
Join me. You can join me on the island. Here we go.
Oh, we'll go to Fairview while I'm Jacob Dieselhorse. He can respond to Joe here.
Well, this has turned into year in, year out a game that decides A1, District A1. Hooker got the big win last season. That was year before. Fairview beat Hooker in the state championship game. Hooker's coming off a huge win at home against previously undefeated Cashin, which I picked, by the way, and saved myself having to pay somebody to take my OSU tickets. It's that bad here now. This is going to be a really good football game. If Hooker can push the line and disrupt Fairview's run lanes, force Fairview into long third downs, passing downs, and if Fairview, and on the other side of the coin, Alex Hauk, who is obviously Fairview's workhorse carrying the football, but he's also the leader of their defense. They're gonna have to find a way to control Hooker's run game. Tailback went off last week against Cashin, and that was really the difference. In a game like this, time of possession's big. I think turnovers will be the difference. I got Fairview a 3.5 point favorite at home, and I am picking my alma mater, the Fairview Yellow Jackets, 34-30, and the game of the year so far in A1. But the Yellow Jackets come away victorious on the back of Eubank Field, that brand new turf.
All right, Jacob taking the Yellow Jackets. We'll go to Class 2A2, District 1 for our next pick'em game with Kellyville at Hennessey. The Eagles are 4-2 overall, but 3-0 in district play. The Ponies have won 4 of their last 5. Tom Nelson, which team gets a win in Hennessey on Thursday?
Well, Stroud is the class of this district, but there is a second first-round home playoff game available, and the winner of this game is going to be in a good spot to earn it. Coach Cox has really got something going on at Hennessey. They lost their first 2 to Cashin and Chisholm. Those are 2 good teams. They've rolled off 4 straight wins and have put up 40-plus points in the last 2. They play a lot of underclassmen that are improving every week. They have a solid dual-threat quarterback in Levi Farrell, who's thrown for 7 touchdowns and rushed for 7 more. Averages almost 80 yards a game rushing. Kellyville's coming off a big district win over Cassidy, and they've got Stroud in the rearview mirror. So they have 3 games they're expected to win after this week. Well, while they're good, it's hard to go into Hennessey and beat the Eagles. I think they're pretty good. I think Hennessy's pretty darn good. I think the Ponies are going to struggle. My pick is Hennessey.
Mark?
One of the great rivalries in Oklahoma high school football. Wait a minute. I think my script was out of order tonight. So, no, that's not this one. Kellyville and Hennessey, but not opponents that meet each other very often, but they have been paired together in this district. I'm going with Hennessey. I'm going with the Eagles and home over the Ponies.
EJ?
Yeah, I have some actually insight over there at Hennessey. They're, like you said, they're on a 4-game winning streak. They're feeling really good about themselves. They're starting to get really confident in that football program, and they really like where they're headed. So I'm going to take the Hennessey Eagles.
All right, Joe Dial, let's go to you.
Oh, yeah. I'm going against the grain on this one. The head coach at Kellyville is my college teammate, Ken Zachary. He's just been there a few years. He's getting this program turned around. He's on the power team, the Christian that he could rip the phone books in half. Well, he's going to rip that phone book in half this weekend, and they're going to come with that win.
Now, he coached at Deer Creek Lamont for a while too, right?
Yeah, and at Sapulpa. He went to high school at Sapulpa.
Well, if he was still coaching at DCLA, he could eat at Cat Steakhouse, which would be good.
Now you're thinking of David Zachary, who was at
Yeah,
DCLA.
Ken. Yeah,
Are
I'm
they
not
brothers?
sure, but I know Ken Zachary was at Sapulpa. He coached there, and then he took the job at Kellyville. I think this is his third season.
Well, this will never make air because I messed up my Zachary's. So thanks, Corey, for editing that.
Well, Joe is taking Kellyville with the upset at Hennessey. Jacob Horses go to you.
Kellyville, after getting blown out by Stroud, they've had back-to-back very impressive wins on the road at Luther, 22-12, and then at Cassidy last week, and they put 56 on the board. Hennessey, as EJ mentioned, have won 4 in a row after starting the season off with a couple of losses at Cashion versus Chisholm. They've grinded out a couple wins versus Newkirk and Crescent, and then won big against Alva and Meeker. I feel like Hennessy's getting better every week. I feel like they're the more talented team. It's good to see Kellyville have a good team and be in the mix. But Hennessey ran for over 300 yards last week against Alva. And take that back. They ran for over 300 yards 2 weeks ago against Alva, and then last week against Meeker, they had 180 something yards rushing and 180 something yards passing. So Hennessey has got a talented offense. It's going to be a little bit too much for Kellyville. I got Hennessey a 2-touchdown favorite at home. I think it stays closer than that, but Hennessey wins it 34-24.
6 surgeons, 4 locations, 1 goal: to improve the health and lives of people in Oklahoma. At Oral and Maxillofacial Associates, we treat every patient like family. As the preferred dental implant and oral surgery specialist of the Oklahoma City Thunder, and with over 30 years of service to our community, we are trusted by professionals and dedicated to expert care. With 4 convenient locations around the metro area, we are here for you. Trust the experts at OMA. Visit our website, www.omaok.com.
Joe Dial on an island with this one, taking Kellyville. Let's go to second game number 6. 2, 3, and 3 teams will be playing in Ardmore on Thursday. Blanchard Lions 2-1 in District 4A2 after a dominant 56-21 win over Tecumseh last week. The Ardmore Tigers also 2-1 in the district that's only lost at Tuttle. This is obviously a big matchup for playoff positioning. Mark, who gets the big win?
This is a really tough game. I mean, last year Blanchard handled Ardmore with relative ease. They won 56-20. But I feel like I've got a stat that's worthy of Tom tonight, is that Ardmore lost to undefeated Altus, undefeated Ada. They beat Shawnee, which is a really nice win, and then they lost to undefeated Tuttle. So they've won the games against teams that have losses, and they've lost to the undefeated teams. So I'm going to go with Ardmore at home in Noble Stadium to get the win over the Lions, and I would consider this a little bit of an upset.
Tom?
Well, after Tuttle at the top, this district is really competitive, and there's going to be a couple of decent teams on the outside looking in come playoff time. Ardmore's 2-1, Blanchard's 1-1 in the district. Ardmore's a young team. Their leading tackler is a freshman linebacker. His name's DeRay Washington. Their skill positions are filled by sophomores and juniors. They've won their last 2 over teams that are a combined 0-12. Blanchard is getting their feet under them. 6 games into Lance Manning's coaching tenure after a 1-2 start. They've won 2 of their last 3. I'm going to say the Lions go on the road and get a big win.
All right, EJ.
Yeah, I'm taking Ardmore here. Yeah, they look like they're rolling in the right direction, and they'll get the win this week.
Joe Dial.
I have no clue, so I'm going to flip a coin. Blanchard heads, Ardmore tails. Ardmore wins.
Joe with Mark, EJ on that one. Jacob.
That'll probably work.
Blanchard and Ardmore.
Blanchard sitting at 3-3. Ardmore sitting at 3-3. This is a really important game for both these teams, playoff wise. Blanchard has their 3 losses to Guthrie, Bethany, and Newcastle. All very, very tough, hard-nosed teams to lose. Going on the road to Ardmore, though, a team that has a lot of momentum going, I feel, right now. They play a little easier schedule, and since losing to Tuttle, have have had, back-to-back impressive wins against Chickasha and Medill. Man, hard game to pick. I agree with Mark. I think that Blanchard's favored. I have them a 4-point favorite going into Ardmore, but I kind of see the game, and this has nothing to do with Joe's coin flip. This was really how I had it picked. I got Ardmore being 4-point underdogs, but I have them winning by 4 at home, 34-30.
All right, we have 2 more Squirrel Network games to pick. These are both of our Squirrel games of the week for this week. Our first Squirrel game of the week is in Class 2A1 District 2. The Marlow Outlaws dominated Crossings 52-0 last week and moved to 5-0 on the season, 3-0 in district play. The Washington Warriors are 5-1 on the year, but have looked really impressive since that loss to Sulphur back in early September. Mark, you're calling this game for Squirtle. Give us a preview and who likely wins the district title on Thursday.
The last 5 games in this series have been awesome. One of them was in a state championship. Last year was in overtime. There was another 1-point game in Marlow here. And I really don't think these teams like each other very much. So this is going to be a fantastic game to call. I love calling games at Outlaw Stadium. It's a great venue, WPA Stadium that's been there for a long time, and they have great hospitality. I'm going to go with the road team here. I'm going to go with Washington over Marlow, and hopefully they will not hold that against me when we arrive on Thursday night.
Tom.
On this show, we've admired the dominance of Washington over the past few years, but one team that's not scared of them is Marlow. Sulphur ended that 45-game winning streak a few weeks ago, but Washington's streak started after Marlow beat them for the state championship in 2021. Last year, the Warriors escaped by a touchdown. Washington is back on track. They've won their last 3 by a combined score of 163-6. But Marlow's been dominant too, and this could be quite the battle. I'm sure it is. It's going to be a great one to watch. Marlow's really good, but Washington, I think they just have too much talent, and I'll take the Warriors in a close one.
All right, we've got to go to Marlow. Joe Dial here.
Oh, come on. What? Hey, all I need to know is what vehicle are you driving into Marlow? What is that? What if you better come with some bad tires.
I'm glad I'm going to Stillwater.
Yeah. Well, no, the other guy, he's going to Marlow. Call it. Yeah.
Mark.
Yeah, Mark. Come on now.
No, Tom's going to Marlow.
Oh, okay.
No.
Hey, there ain't a chance. You come into outlaw country, you ain't going away with a win. No, sir. I mean, Marlow has scored 236 points and only allowed 18 in 5 games. Now, that's some defense. But, of course, their quarterback's going both ways. He's the quarterback. I guess he hands off to himself, and then he plays linebacker. So we're going to run behind that 315-pound guy and 3 yards in cloud of dust for a victory. Marlow.
Hey, Andy?
Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah.
Can I change my pick?
Well, we'll see if Corey, our producer Corey, can change the logo on that. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, you're taking.
Your tires are good. Your tires are good. Yeah.
EJ, let's go to you. Washington at Marlow.
Hard to follow that up when I know the offensive line coach at Washington. I coached with him at Choctaw, Coach Fairview, so I know he'll have those guys fired up to play. So I'm going to go Washington here.
Oh man. EJ going on the opposite side of this one as well. Jacob, Washington at Marlow.
Joe, just Mark drives a cyber truck, Tesla Cybertruck, just in case you're wondering. Blacked out rims. Okay. Yes, this man, love it when these two teams lock heads. 2 of the best teams in 2A1 year in, year out. If you just turn this game on, Squirtle, and to watch the game and didn't know what class either of these two teams are in, and you watch the boys in the trenches play, you think you're watching big school football. There are some hosses on both sides of the ball. Washington's got a bunch of monsters. Alexander, Marlow's got a big, tough defensive line. Same on offense. Washington lost that heartbreaker to Sulphur, and since then they've just routed 4 teams straight. Marlow, same thing, just dominating teams, but really haven't been tested yet. They're going to get tested Thursday night, and I just can't go against Washington. I'm looking at this big picture. What's more likely? Washington's 5-2, Marlow 6-0, or Marlow's 5-1, Washington's 6-1, and maybe we see these two teams playing again later in the season when it gets cold out. So I got this game. I'll pick them. It's a coin toss game, literally. But I think Washington comes away with a 28-24 hard win, and I won't be there, so my Range Rover's safe.
Okay.
I get to call this game and eat at Taco Tico, double enchiladas. What a Thursday.
It's going to be a good Thursday. I got to watch a lot of that Marlow Crossings game last Friday, and Marlow was super impressive. They're big, they're fast, and they play angry. So it's going to be a really interesting game in Marlow on Thursday. Looking forward to Mark's call for that game. Let's go to our second Squirtle game of the week, which takes us to 6A Division II District 1. 2 powerhouse schools will face off in Stillwater this Thursday. Pioneers are 5-1 on the year, with its only loss coming at Carl Albert a few weeks ago. The Pioneers will host Choctaw. The defending state champion Yellow Jackets are 3-3 overall, but 2-1 in district play, with their only defeat, a 1-point loss at Putnam City a couple of weeks ago. Tom, you're calling this game on Squirtle. Give us a preview.
Well, overall, Stillwater has dominated this series over the long haul, but it's been a dynamic rivalry the last 4 meetings. Stillwater won 2 of 3 meetings by an average of 4 points in the semis or the finals, before Choctaw won last year during the regular season in district play 35-28. The Pioneers should be in a good place going into Friday night. They've played the bottom half of the district, blowing out Eisenhower, Grant, and Northwest Classen. They haven't broken a sweat since losing to Carl Albert a month ago. On the other hand, Choctaw has those 3 teams after Stillwater. They've lost to Putnam City, had a battle with Piedmont, and outscored Southmore last week. Stillwater is averaging over 400 yards a game, split pretty evenly between the pass and the run. On defense, it's all about the BYU commit, Nehemiah Coloni. Had 14 tackles for loss and 8 sacks so far this year. And he's a disruptor on the defensive line. For Choctaw, their quarterback, Landon Gatson, gets better every week. Titus Hawk is a huge target at tight end. He's 6'7", about my size. And they are loaded with talent on the defensive side as well. I get to see a lot of future talent at the next level on Thursday night, and I'm pretty excited about it. And it's going to be a fun one.
Absolutely. Mark Rogers, go to you. Choctaw at Stillwater.
Good bounce back win for Choctaw last week after they were stunned by that drop snap, an extra point to try to tie Putnam City to put that game into overtime at PC Stadium 2 weeks ago. Stillwater's the team to beat in this class. They at the beginning of the season, I thought Choctaw might have improved a little bit, but they're not as good on the offensive line. Quarterback play has been a little bit different with Cash Williams now moving on to Tennessee. So I think that Stillwater wins this game, and I think everybody's chasing them for the championship in Class 6A Division II.
All right, we have to go to Choctaw, Coach EJ.
Yeah, Choctaw struggled a couple times in PCO, and maybe a little bit even in that Piedmont game. But I know Coach Corbin. Gave him a call a little bit, and they're doing all right. He said that they're going to play a lot of freshmen in this game, but none to fear is these are going to be some talented dudes that can get out there. I plan to see a big game from Mayor Morgan, Choctaw's running back. He's a really shifty guy. And then also Choctaw's special teams is really good. Kentrell Gaddis, KJ Gaddis, he's returned 3 or 4 returns this year, whether it be punt or kickoff. So I expect to see them, have a really good factor in the special teams. So with that being said, I'm going to go Choctaw with my guys.
Joe.
You got to appreciate that pick, but I'm going to go with Stillwater in this one.
All right, Jacob.
Stillwater has maybe the most talented skill players of any team. I mean, across the board. I think Bixby does it kind of with their the teamwork and the utility, but just skill wise and just talent wise, Ethan Evans, Deacon Jones, the junior wide receiver, David Thomas, the sophomore wide receiver, Jaden Adams, the running back, is a sophomore, Kyle Stokes, the other tailback, who's also a junior. That's got to be scary for all 6A2 to hear that all those kids whose names are, in the highlights every Friday night, because Stillwater has pretty much hung 60 on everybody not named Carl Albert this season, and even went on the road and has beat Union back-to-back seasons. Stillwater is the team to beat in 6A2. Choctaw's played a brutal, hard schedule, going to those two road games early in the year in Kansas. Kind of a surprising loss at PCO a few weeks ago, although PCO's, I think, team to watch in 6A2. I just think Stillwater's too talented. They're at home. I got Stillwater a 11.5 point favorite, and I think they pull away 42-28.
And I'm just happy I've got an elevator to the press box. So,
Yeah, and a nice one. You don't have to go really slow.
Yeah.
I want to give EJ credit and Jake. Those guys went to a tough place, and in all seriousness, they've done an incredible job for Choctaw to win the state championship last year. The way they built the program, as hard as they've worked to build it from the roots up down in that 4th and 5th grade programs, and they're talented. They're really good.
Yeah, I was trying to take a picture to send to Marlow to give him some motivation, and I kicked off.
Did it have a bullseye on Mark's head or anything?
Oh, I'm not the only one that picked.
Oh, they're going to be ready now. They're going to be ready now. Yeah.
Okay, those are our 8 network games that you can watch for free on the Squirrel Network, Squirrel.tv, Squirrel app, or the individual school websites. We're going to quickly discuss 4 games of interest around the state of Oklahoma. Cannot watch these games on Squirrel, but these should be really great matchups. We're going to start Broken Arrow at Norman North. Mark Rogers.
Norman North had the big comeback win over Edmond Memorial earlier this season. I was surprised that Norman North did not go beat Union. The Union's really struggled this year. I thought Norman North would get that win on the road. I think BA's got too much defense. Norman North has got a young team, but another thing, you got to give credit to the teams on the east side of the state this year. I thought that maybe Mustang, Edmond, Norman North could make a dent and potentially win some games against teams not named Bixby or Jinx, but it hasn't happened so far. So I'm going with Broken Arrow.
Yeah, it's the 4th year in a row that BA and Norman North have played, and North has won the last 3, and the over-under has been 74.5, so they scored a lot of points. I think there'll be a lot of points scored again. BA is going to have trouble stopping Mason James. He's got a sophomore quarterback in Nash Henry who's getting better and better each week. He had 370 yards passing and 3 touchdowns against Union. He went to Manhattan last Saturday to watch my K-State Wildcats smoke TCU. So come on, Nash, Emaw, be a cat, and that's enough for me. West side beats the east side, and this one, give me the Timberwolves.
EJ.
Yeah, I just think, BA is going to be a little bit too tough for Norman North this week, so I'm going to go Broken Arrow.
Joe.
Well, one of my athletes that won the state championship with me last year in track moved over to BA, and they have so much talent, but I kind of picked them to win, but I wouldn't mind seeing Norman North win. So let's go with Norman North then.
I was going to say, you break out that coin again.
That's what I was about to have to do.
Joe taking the Timberwolves. Jacob Esource, let's go to you.
Broken Arrow can pretty much complete the east-west side sweep with a win this week. All the prominent teams on both sides of the state in 6A1 have played each other. I think with Broken Arrow and Norman North this week. This is going to be a really good football game. If Norman North's interior line can hold up against Broken Arrow's defensive line, Broken Arrow's one of the best teams in the state in the trenches. Norman North, on the other hand, is explosive. They have all kinds of talent, stretch the field. Just so hard to pick against the East this year. It seems like the East is, the scales of justice are tipped East this year. And while I see this game to be a tight one, I got to pick them. I think Broken Arrow comes out with a win, 35-28.
Shout out to Norman North head coach Justin Jones, great friend of the show. We have him on here a lot and really always appreciate Coach Jones and all he does for Squirtle. So best of luck to Norman North throughout their season. It's good to talk about their team this evening. Let's go to our second non-Squirrel Network game to discuss tonight. Edmond Memorial at Owasso. Mark.
Why are you picking on me? I picked against all the friends of the show tonight. I picked Fairview. I did what I was supposed to do. I mean, come on. Okay.
Just for the cookies.
All right, Edmond and Owasso.
Edmond Memorial and Owasso. Yeah.
This is another tough one. I really I like Edmond a lot this year. They've got the one blemish on their schedule, which is the loss to Norman North in a game which they had the lead, and Norman North came back to win. It's again, the East has proven this season that that they've just kind of rebuilt. Owasso's losses are to Jinx and Bixby. Everybody would lose to Jinx and Bixby, so I'm going with Owasso here.
Yeah, Memorial has won 5 of 6 against teams around them in the OKC metro area, but they're playing an Owasso team that has won 4 straight after those opening losses, like Mark said, to Bixby and Jinx. Big step up in competition for them. I'm going with Owasso in this one.
EJ.
Yeah, Memorial's having a great season this year and called some coaching buddies, and I just think Owasso's run game is going to be too much for Memorial to handle, so I'm going to go Owasso.
Joe.
A close one, but I think Owasso wins this one.
Jacob.
Owasso dominates the line of scrimmage. They control time of possession. Edmond Memorial likes to play a little more up tempo, a little fast, spread the field, throw it up and down the field. In a high level 6A game like this, the ability to stay on the field, convert third downs is essential in a tight game like this. Edmond Memorial's got to contain Owasso's outside runs and quarterback scrambles. Owasso's quarterback can do a lot with his feet on those third downs and extend plays and make big plays. I still really like Owasso as a team that can make some noise in the playoffs and maybe stay within 4 touchdowns of Bixby. But this one, I have Owasso. Edmond Memorial is a great team, but going on the road at Owasso just a little bit too much. I got Owasso a 10-point favorite, and I have Owasso winning 38-30.
Let's go to Class 2A2, Dibble at Holdenville. Tom Nelson, we'll start with you.
Well, District 2 and 2A2 is pretty loaded at the top with these two and Davis battling for the title. Dibble's already beaten Davis, so a win at Holdenville puts the Demons firmly in the driver's seat. They've got the Malchaski brothers. Wyatt is averaging about 130 rushing yards a game. His younger brother Gannon is leading them in tackles, has 12 tackles for loss. But Holdenville's been pummeling teams. 6 wins by an average score of 59-7. Holdenville won by 18 last year, and I think they'll beat Dibble again this year.
Mark.
Can I get a spelling on the Malchaski brothers? Can we? I
have it phonetically spelled on my notes, so no.
Okay, that's good. Holdenville's got the wing T, and they're really a serious contender to win Class 2A Division II this year. They were behind Beggs last week, had to make a rally to win that game, but they put points on the board every week, like Tom said, averaging over 50 a game. So really good matchup. If Dibble can win, knocking off Davis and Holdenville in the same year would be an incredible feat. But I'm going to go with another WPA stadium here that was built in the 40s. Great place to watch a high school football game. I'm going to go with the Wolverines over the Demons.
EJ.
But a Demon Wolverine would be maybe the most fierce mascot of all time.
That'd be bigger than a honey badger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No doubt. EJ, let's go to you, Holdenville and Dibble.
Yeah, so as Tom and Mark said, putting up a lot of points, Holdenville. So I'm going to go with them and see if they can get the win this week.
Joe.
I'm just going off what you guys say, but I'll take Holdenville.
Joe, be careful listening to these guys. Jacob Dietz Horse, let's go to you.
Abe Gomez and RJ Lowe both get snaps behind center for Holdenville. They've had some really impressive wins, sitting at 6-0. Depending on what rankings you're looking at, they're the number 1 ranked team in 2A2. Dibble is no slouch. They have a lot of dual role athletes who play on both sides of the ball, make a lot of things happen. But in this game, I just feel like Holdenville's home field advantage and a little bit of a talent edge will be the difference. I have them a 14-point favorite, and I have them winning the game 35-21.
All right, guys, it's our last pick of the night.
And I just got my first ever paper cut while I was doing the show on my pad here. I don't know how you do that.
Send something to HR.
I know. I'm in a workers' comp case.
Workers' comp case. Let's see if Jay can cut it out for the rest of the show. We have one more pick.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
You at Heritage Hall, Tom Nelson.
The Indians are 5-1, but they haven't beaten a team with a winning record yet. Their one loss was by a point in overtime to Davis. Now, Mark threw that stat out last week. When was the last time the Hall lost a district game? How many years? Like 12 or 13 or something like that?
13.
Wow. Plainview hasn't beaten the Chargers since 1993, and it ain't happening this week. So there you go.
Mark.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tall task. Plainview's pretty good. If they got a couple of things to go their way, I think that it would be possible. But this probably is the last big test for Heritage Hall to get past if they're going to continue the streak for another year. So Brett Bogert has not lost a district game as a head coach at Heritage Hall, that's amazing. So I will go with the Hall.
EJ.
Yeah, Plainview's up for a tall task. I'm not saying that it won't be a good game and they can't do it, but I'm going to go Heritage Hall.
Joe.
Heritage Hall sounds like you on this one. Yep.
Joe taking the Chargers. Jacob, let's go to you.
Now, Andy, this is a M&D yellow pad, so you think I could turn this in to the firm and get it taken care of? I don't know. Heritage Hall, man, you can't pick against them in district. They just have an edge on everybody. They play such a crisp and they execute. If that's one thing when you watch Heritage Hall play is how well they execute. Coach Boger's got that team just playing elite football. The question is going to be, can they compete with Lincoln Christian? I know they lost to them early in the year, but if they get a rematch, will they be able to, keep that game close? I think Plainview's a good team. They're a top 5 team in 3A, but going on the road at Heritage Hall is a tough task. I got Heritage Hall a 20-point favorite, and I think they win it 42-20.
All right, guys. Well, that'll do it for us. Thank you for joining us on the Squirtle Pater Pick'em Show. Be sure to tune in to Squirtle.tv so you can watch those 8 Squirtle Network games for free on Thursday night, as we discussed. Thanks, as always, to our great sponsors. And our guests tonight were fantastic, EJ and Joe. Really appreciate you guys coming on. We'll love to have you back on anytime. Best of luck to you and your teams and your seasons. Joe, I know you have track and field coming up as well there at Jinx. Enjoy all the football this week, Oklahoma. We'll see you again next week.
Did you know Career Tech trains Oklahoma's essential workforce?
Or that Career Tech is Oklahoma's leader for Earn While You Learn apprenticeship opportunity?
Did you know Career Tech programs are a low to no cost educational path?
Or that Career Tech can help you learn by doing?
So when Oklahoma needs us,
we'll be ready.